Well, I am joined with Jahmal Harvey today. Jahmal has been described by many as the best amateur in the United States and possibly the world. I mean, he's got the world title to prove it. Jahmal, thank you so much for joining me. How you doing?
I'm doing good.
So, for maybe some people that aren't familiar with you, I'm curious too myself. Um, how did you discover boxing? What age were you, and how did everything transpire with boxing?
I started boxing in the eighth grade. So right before I was playing football and I was boxing at the same time because going into high school, I know I didn't have the height, weight. I knew I had the speed and stuff, but I wasn't really growing. So my football coach, who also was starting his own gym, told me to come up to the gym, and I started boxing, and I just fell in love with it.
I mean, that's kind of incredible. Your football coach is Daryl Davis, and obviously he's trained a lot of great fighters. Was it just kind of like by chance that he happened to be your coach, yet he had all this boxing knowledge at the same time?
Yeah, that's crazy. So yeah, I was real comfortable with him going into boxing because of that. Like we already had a chemistry, already been known for some years at his house. He been my coach, so it was just crazy how it all transpired.
So, kind of describe the first time you go in the boxing gym. What type of stuff did they have you doing, and when did it kind of click? Like, okay, he's got something.
All right, our first boxing gym when he first opened it, it was the old football equipment room. So it literally had one bag and hard floor. That's all we had. I think we had one bag. I don't think we had speed bags, doubling or nothing. I have pictures. There would be like four of us, one bag hitting it. But he just had us doing some hand pad work and hitting the bag, just the basic one twos.
When did you realize that okay, I was good at football, but I'm special at boxing? Like, was there an exact moment that you knew, like, okay, this is my thing?
Um, I would say I don't know. So growing up, I grew up in Southeast DC. I always get in fights, so I already know I know how to fight. But once I
Mhm.
got into boxing, when I was boxing, we was learning the basics. The first thing we Coach Darrell does when you get in the gym, you spar. So that first day, you learn the basics and then you spar. He'll teach you a 1-2. That's all you got to go in there with. You're going to do your 1-2 and he teach you how to pivot to get away from a punch. That's all you learn. So I did that. I went in there, we sparred. Basically everyone knew he just started the gym, one of the first people. So I'm sparring. I'm sparring them. I'm doing real good. I'm doing way better than the guys that first started with me. So then he took me to a gym to spar a national champion, and I did good. So once he did that, he was just telling me like, that guy supposed to be real good, telling me and my dad that, and I'm like, well, for real, then I must really be nice.
That's quite a story. How long is it before you start working out in the gym and sparring in the gym before you go into your first amateur bout?
I trained in the gym. Let me see. All right, so football season from basically like August, September to August to about October, November-ish. So after football season, so from November, and I had my first fight February.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Wow. And then how old were you when you won your first national title?
My first national title, it just started competing at 13 with 12, no 13. So I won my first national at the age of 14.
Wow. And did you before you started boxing, did you have much boxing knowledge? Was it something that you were into? Did you watch it on TV or was it just kind of new to you?
It was all new. The only boxers I could say the current boxers that I really knew was Floyd and Pacquiao. That was it.
And so once you start getting into it, you start really having that success. Um, did you start like watching the fights now? Did you start like studying other fighters? How did your interest in the sport grow from that point on?
Watching it, I really wasn't watching it like that. Only like the big fights. But I'm recently starting to watch it more and more just because I know people now. Like I've been in the sport, so I'm starting to hear names and like people that was in the amateurs that turned pro. So I feel like I watch boxing a little bit more.
You even think that maybe that fresh perspective, the fact that you hadn't had images of other boxers kind of helped you in a sense because you didn't like have to mimic anyone. You were just kind of doing your own thing.
Yeah.
I mean, because you like really had a fresh start at it. It's like you're kind of discovering, yeah, you had your coaching, but you're really
Mhm.
kind of innovating and creating on your own when you're in the ring.
Yeah, that was a big thing. That's why I like my coach because he doesn't really try to change your style. The most important thing, he gonna teach you the technique of it, but we was in there to win. We wasn't in there to look pretty or nothing. So I was just in there. Football coach had great. I had great conditioning. I was well. I had asthma as a kid, so when I first started boxing, I'm just now getting over like my asthma. I probably haven't used my pump in about 2 years, so I'm just getting over it. So for me to have asthma, I was throwing a lot of punches and just getting wins.
Did that concern you? Like the fact that you had asthma and here you are in the ring and having to, have that kind of cardio? Was that a concern of yours?
No, it was never a concern because I like the sport and I like winning. So it was just I would just work hard and work through it.
Now, as far as, the runs and things like that, did you ever have difficulties when you were doing road work or anything like that?
Uh, I would just say it's harder to breathe in the cold back when I was younger. So when I was running the cold, it's
Mhm.
just harder to breathe. That was it.
And would you say that like even the boxing training has kind of helped you with it? Like it's kind of cleared it out a little bit.
Yeah, I think boxing really did clear it out because I started running more. Because boxing is a year-round sport. I was playing football. I was always active. I was in football, basketball, but it's not like constant, just strength and like conditioning. Boxing, you
Mhm.
got to condition every day.
Now, since I've never, I mean, I won a national title as a martial artist. I never won a national title as a boxer, nor competed as a boxer. When you start winning national titles, is it like every time you win one, your confidence keeps growing and growing and growing?
Yeah, I feel like that. Just keep growing and growing. I When I first started, I wasn't the greatest skill. So when I was winning nationals, I won a national. So my first year I competed, I did never went to the national level because I couldn't make it. I couldn't make it out of the locals. But then that second year, my second year boxing, I started winning. Think I won 3 nationals, and I was just thinking to myself like, I was getting more confident, and I was saying to myself like, "Yo, this is crazy. Like, I don't know how I'm winning because I knew it was other boxers in my like out in the world that was like better than me. Like when I was going to national, I'm seeing them with skill, sharpness, and I'm beating them, and I'm like, that's it's crazy.
So now 2021 comes, you're in the world championships as an amateur, and you're beating guys that are Olympians, and you take it all the way, win the first world title for an American in 14 years. I mean, what does that do to your confidence?
Man, when I knew that championship day, I knew I was gonna leave it all in the ring. Especially even before going out there, I knew that we haven't had a gold medal in that long, and I was one of the youngest. I would be the youngest person in the U.S. to ever win a gold. That just fueled the fire because I wanted to make history. So even in that first fight, when I got dropped, I just knew. When you look at me, I was just shaking my head. I got up and just had to fight through it. I knew from there on out, I knew I was going to throw a lot of punches because there was no way I was going to lose that tournament.
Now going forward, I mean, already winning a national title at you're 19 years old. Uh, what's the plan going forward? I know that there's the Olympics in 2 years. Um, do you say, okay, I'm going to go for the Olympics, or are you kind of getting the itch to go pro? What are you thinking?
To the Olympics. I ain't even get an itch to go pro. It's just bigger and better things to accomplish. Olympic gold medal. My first youth coach always said it's less Olympians than it is world champions. It's
Mhm.
no Olympic, nobody like Olympic gold medalists. Like it's nothing nobody could just throw around, but it's easy to become a world champion.
Now, these past Olympics, which again happened later than they were supposed to, we had success at that level. I mean, we had some medalists in there. What would it mean to you to be the first American to win, like a gold medal in the men's side in ages? What would that mean to you?
That would mean a lot. The team that we got now, I feel like we all gonna get it done, if I'm being honest. So
Mhm.
we should have a lot of medals coming up in this 2024 Olympics. But it will mean a lot because this is what I've been working hard for. I could have went pro this year, last year. I could have did that, but I'm waiting it out because I'm trying to have tunnel vision to get that Olympic gold medal. That's my dream. So it'll mean a lot to me.
As you said, I mean, you have been around a lot of guys. Obviously, when you're on Team USA, you got some great names around you. But even being a Maryland guy, DC guy, I mean, that's a great area for boxing because it's kind of like that sweet nexus. You've got New York, New Jersey, Maryland, DC. Who have
Yeah.
been some of the guys that have been like? Have there been guys that have been like mentors to you along the way?
Man, yeah, been a lot of guys that's been mentors to me. Gyms in the area, coaches in the area. Everybody just help each other out. We go to different gyms a lot to go spar. Jared Hurd, the pros, Lamont Roach,
Mhm.
been around them lately, so everyone's been helping me out.
Now, I looked at your USA boxing page and it said your favorite fighter was Terrence Crawford on there.
Yeah.
What is it about Terrence Crawford that appeals to you?
Just He's just smart. He know when to adjust. He know when to turn it up and not give away rounds. And he also switches his stance like I do.
Mhm. So would you say when you kind of compare yourself to other fighters, I don't know if that's something you do or if you see them even fighting, you say, "Oh, that's something that I do a lot." Would you kind of compare your game to Terrence's, or are there other fighters that you kind of see yourself in?
Nah, I got a lot that I fight like Aaron Pryor because when I like fight someone and I hurt him or him a big shot, I jump on him.
Mhm,
So a lot of people tell me I fight like him, but I
mhm,
wouldn't say I fight like Terrence Crawford because when I switch my stance about I can't even count, but I switch
mhm,
a lot during the fight. I never just stay in one stance the whole time. You
mhm.
definitely gonna see me switch my stance about at least 6 times in one round.
So kind of moving forward, obviously the main goal being the Olympics. Are you still going to be fighting at the national level, or is that something that you're holding off on, or is that going to be kind of like your training ground going forward?
I'm gonna still be fighting at the national level to make the team, and then we got the trials that's gonna come up in a couple years. So I'll still be
Mhm.
fighting nationally.
You want to wave at Jamal, future champion, future Olympic champion?
Hey,
Say wave. Say hi, Jamal.
hey,
Going forward, thinking about your biggest goals. Obviously, you've got the gold medal. Beyond that, what are kind of the hopes and dreams that are living in your head right now?
hopes. Olympic gold medal. I don't know if I'm gonna do another Olympic. I'll be thinking about it, but pros too. Once I go pro, I want to go pro. I want to have like a long pro career. I want to get in, get out, get some big fights early. I don't. I guess the first two or three get adjusted to the pro game, but after that, I'm just gonna be ready to take off, get some fight some contenders, some champions, and to dip. I'm just gonna invest my money and get out.
Well, I mean, I'm sure there are a lot of promoters chomping at the bit to get you signed to them. And again, if that gold medal comes, regardless if it comes, they're going to want you regardless. I mean, everyone can see what you do, and you are an incredibly talented fighter, Jamal. I think that you're the future of boxing. I think a lot of people feel that.
Thank you.
Thank you for taking the time, and best of luck going forward.
Thank you.